now, she is the one, the only, and Heather Ashbury, who also wears a hat better than I do. I feel like inadequate here. I feel totally inadequate here. It's like, I don't have a hat. I can't. It's funny because I did a game show thing right before. That's why we started a little late tonight, just because I was still in the midst of that. So we were talking. It's like my co-host had like this little. Have you ever seen those little tiny cowboy hats with like the strap? Have you ever seen those? Like those really, really terrible cowboy hats. And then they do their last part of the show, in which they're one of them's wearing their awesome hat. You actually topped him. So now I'm like, I need to get a cool hat. I don't have a cool hat. I don't know why, but now I feel like
I actually got this from the Wish app for like $2, and it's great. It's got a bendy thing. You can shape it however you want. It's a great sun hat, and I'm surprised with it holding up so well coming from Wish.
Sometimes it's just certain things are meant for you. That $2 investment like totally paid off for you. Like it totally did. But also it suits you. It actually does suit you quite well. So
thank you. I love it.
So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. So I don't know you very, very well. I mean, I don't know what I've just seen you interact on Facebook. You seem to always be kicking ass with books of all kinds of various types, and your enthusiasm for your work is contagious. I have to say, I actually really enjoy when I do read your stuff. You're very, very, very into what you do, and I think that's an awesome thing.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So let's see here. Where do I want to start? Do I want to keep talking about your hat for a few minutes, see how many more times I can make you laugh, or do I actually see if we can get you a little bit more comfortable than you are, just so get you there, and maybe talk a little bit about how you got into the writing thing?
Well, when I was younger, early preteens to teens, I wrote a lot of poetry. And I guess after I graduated, I just couldn't write poetry anymore for some reason. I would try to write it down and I would just hate it, and it would suck every time, and it felt like it was just gone. And then I started thinking about this story for my book, More Than Human. Little characters, little situations, some dialogue here and there, and scenes would play out in my head over and over and over again, to the point where I started writing them down. And then when I felt like over a period of probably about 4 years, when I felt that I had enough substance to actually sit down and write a continuous story from beginning, middle, and end, I did, which took me probably about another 2 years. And the story that created in my head was originally from a game that I used to play with myself, where I would sit. I really like to people watch. And so based on people's mannerisms or some of their characteristics or personality, I would guess what kind of mythological creature they would most fit. And so I started looking at my friends, and I came up with this whole group of people, and I wrote it out, and yeah. So it just started from kind of a game.
I'm going to ask this just because, were you a theater person in high school too?
No, it wasn't. I took a clowning class.
A clowning class?
I learned how to juggle and make balloon animals, and yeah, that's what I did.
Well, I just got a little bit of the sense of a little bit of a performer there, because again, you're clowning.
Really. Well, I didn't actually have to do that in front of anybody but my class, and I never did anything with it. So it was in front of 5 other people that I can handle.
You can handle 5 people. You just get really shy. You just get really.
I cry. Shy. I break down and cry, and then I can't talk, and then I run away. It's really bad.
I kind of want to give you a hug now. Jeez, I don't even know you very well, but it's like there. It's like nice to. No, it's see me. So I've said this story way back. So when I was 12, I was going to go to class, front of the class. This killed all my fears of multitude people seeing me and judging me. Because what happened was I was in this French class, 7th grade. Go up to the front of the class to do a report. Next thing I know, this is right at the start of puberty. So I walk by some pretty girl. Next thing I know, everything's up in attention. I'm in these short shorts and a shirt. And the whole class just saw it, right?
Oh my God.
Right. Yeah, right. But I mean, as terrible
no.
as that was, I'm oddly thankful for that because now I cannot be crushed by anything.
The most embarrassing thing that could happen to you happened to you, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So it's freeing now, right? Because I mean, the only thing that could possibly top that is being out there naked, and I'm gonna go with like what a performer. I don't know the performer says. Listen, no one really wants to be out there naked, but if you have to be there, if you have to be in that position, own it. Just fucking own it, right? It's like I'm here now. What are you gonna do, right? Right? That kind of thing, because it's the only way around. I've learned a long time ago, like once you have those kind of like moments about it, I'm not wishing any of this on you. I'm just for the record, right? But I just one of the things I realized is and this is maybe where this will veer a little bit into you. The worst things aren't really as bad as we think they are. You know what I mean? Right? A lot of times, a lot of stuff's in our head. It very much is in our head. That fear, right? Whatever that fear is, it can be something it holds you. It can be prison, but it also can be a door, right? So this is a very early impression of you because we've talked for all of 7 minutes, right? But shy but sweet is literally my impression. That's my impression of you in 7 minutes. Shy but sweet. Very thoughtful. Lots going on up here. I can see the wheels turning. Right. If you really like somebody, it wouldn't be above you doing some kind of practical joke, even if it's a little bit bashful doing it. I do think it's in you. Right. I think right there is something to that. Right. So I say this like this because I just want you to understand it's not that like a lot of times, you know, our fears or in anxieties or insecurities, right? I've learned this maybe for me, maybe you have a different perspective on it. I just learned that maybe like a lot of the things I'm anxious about, they're usually tied to things I want to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I were to guess based on how many terrible jokes I've made you laugh at so far, and a few other things like that, you know, you have a lot you want to say or share.
Not exactly.
Not exactly.
I don't really know.
It's a thought. It's a thought because again, it's some people. Oh, and the other thing too. And let's just flip this around, right? Let's just flip this around. Some people have this tendency to talking's not necessarily the first language. I have a big mouth, as you can see. I have a huge. I can go jab all day long, right? And that might not be your thing. But I find people communicate in a myriad of ways. You know what I mean? So it's just about paying attention to what those little things are. And so when you're talking about your mythological, imaginary friend kind of deal, or what your friends and putting them as characters are, right? I think you're very aware of this, that people express themselves in a myriad of different ways.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, my characters vary all kinds, and they're all based on other people that I've witnessed, things that have stood out to me, like a subtle but conscious lisp. Somebody who's been practicing with a lisp, you can tell with certain words that they focus really hard on what they're saying, and maybe that they've had some speech therapy or something, but it still slips out during certain times. Like when they're emotionally heightened or nervous, they might kind of lose control over that. And I noticed like little things like that. And I kind of just keep them in a little file in my head about different characteristics of what makes everybody just kind of different. And I utilize that for my characters.
So you like it. So when you observe, you notice just how everybody kind of stands out in their own way. Then,
Yeah,
yeah,
people's differences stand out to me, but not because I'm picking them apart, but because I find them interesting.
me too. Me too. No one's the exact same. And that's awesome because that means everybody has a unique little story. Hence, people are always fascinating.
They can be. Some people are pretty dull.
I don't think anyone's dull. I think it's just it's comfort of sharing too. It's one of those things about again, I've interviewed a lot of people. There's a story with everybody, and everybody's got a great story. Doesn't matter who they are. It's just finding where those icebreakers are, where people feel very comfortable to talk. And once people feel comfortable to talk, then they will talk. You know what I mean? And people share. That's the thing. We all have different thresholds, and we all have different like ideas of what those things are. Like I've talked to you for almost 12 minutes, and in those 12 minutes, right, you wear better hats than I do, right? Like we mentioned that, right? We talk about, like, I learned that you went to clown school, but it wasn't for you. It looks like, I mean, it was an experience, but it wasn't something you do again. You're shy, right? You're shy, but that's not necessarily. Yeah, a little bit, right? You're shy, but that's okay too. I mean, not everybody's so. Okay, I'm going to ask this question, and please don't beat me for asking this question. How old are you now? Because I can't actually quite put you there.
How old do you guess I am? I guess I'm curious as to what you think first.
I'm thinking mid-20s to 30. Right?
Aw, I'm 32, but aw.
Yeah. How old am I?
I'd also guess 30s. 30,
40.
31,
40.
40.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
I edge very well. I look better and better all the time. See, I can be silly about that, right? You know, as I get older, I realize that again, just looking at me, I'm very I give less of a shit, and it's like the best thing ever, right? Because it is one of those.
The older you get, the less you care.
Well,
the
less you care about what others think of you, I think.
The more clarity you have on what is actually priority, or what is actually important and actually matters, I think you gain with age, and you kind of shrug off those frivolous and pointless little things that used to matter a lot as like a teenager or something, you know.
Yeah, there's only two things that still matter to me as a teenager. I still chase girls. Sometimes I catch them, right? And I still like comic books. So I mean, it's
comic books are cool.
Yeah, comic books are cool. So I mean, you don't outgrow everything, and I don't think that you're supposed to. I think actually the thing is, but you hopefully get mature and wiser, and I don't know how much wiser I am. You know, some days I wonder. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Some days I'm not that wise at all. You know what I mean as well. So it's just one of those things you honestly just look at and just say, "Huh, I think I'm better." And most of the time I think I am. Some days I'm not. And I think that's what I think. Like, you just worry about that day to day of, am I the person I want to be? Am I closer to the person I want to be? That kind of thing. I don't know. She nods.
I just try to be a better person than I was yesterday. You know, take it day by day. And it's little steps that actually get the most progress, I think, in the long run.
That's true whether you're writing a book. I think that's true with everything. It's not that you can have big goals, but it's the steps. It's all about the steps. It's all about the steps. So do you got a plan for world domination with your books? Is there like a dream, a big exciting dream, what you'd like to do with them?
I want to finish the series. I don't know how many books are going to be in the series, because as I continue writing, kind of more of the story unfolds. I mean, when I first started writing this book, I thought this one was going to be, I was going to write one book and that was going to be it. And then a second one came to me, and then a third one came to me, and now a fourth one's come to me. And so I don't know where it's going to end, but I'd like to finish it at some point. And I think it would make a really cool TV series or movie, but everybody says that about their books.
Not me. I want my books to be video games.
Or some kind of larger media.
I just think like like everybody's got their own goals. I'm sure a good book is a good goal in and of itself, right? And the thing about and it sounds like that's your immediate goal, and there's nothing wrong with that. No matter if it's 4 books or 6 books, I'm assuming there's a number in your head you'd like it to end at. I mean, you're like at this point, it's like I'd like it to end at say 6, maybe 7, right?
I actually have no idea. I just kind of go with whatever my writing muse goes with, and I'm waiting for. I have personified my writing muse. It's a her. I'm pretty sure her name is Gertrude. And I'm waiting for her to tell me that that's enough and kind of finish it. And I cannot foresee how many books that will be.
Okay, so if I talk to you in like 5 years and you're like at book 44, at book 13, I'll be like,
that's a lot.
It is?
I hope not.
Yeah. Hey, I applaud you. You've gone 4. I mean, there's one series I'm working on. It's going to go 4 books, and I do have one series. I have one series like you, where there's no like there's a beginning, and I have an idea I know what the ending is. How long does it take me to get there? That's another story. All right.
Yeah.
I've talked about last few days of, so it's an assassin. She used to be an assassin. She's trying to become a good person. So when I last left her, she was choking out a police officer, kind of marveling how in fact she's not a young person anymore. Not young anymore. She's just thinking about all the pains of just crouching and waiting, because that's something like assassins. You're standing still for an extended period of time, or you're going at like a warp speed, right? She can still go at warp speed, but that standing still thing, right, hurts a little bit more than it was in her younger days, So it's just one of those things where it's just like, yeah, and she's just marveling about that as he's going limp in her arms and going to sleep. So just like, I'm not a young person anymore. And that's kind of like one of those like little moments you have, right? I got plenty of those like lined up, but I don't know how many of them there actually gonna be. You know what I mean? So,
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got your own like scene where one of your animal friends is choking out a police officer, marveling about it, getting older and wiser. Or do you got like something that equivalent of that?
I haven't even seen the end where it ends up at, actually. And I feel like I've just scraped the surface on my characters and their story, and I'm finding that the more it goes on, the more fantasy elements are taking over. The first book is very realism based, and the further in the series I'm going, the kind of deeper it's getting. But I don't know how deep or what's going to happen. I'm just
Heather,
as surprised as anybody else who reads my books at what happens. Like,
so Heather, are you secretly an epic fantasy writer? Are you coming out and admitting that on the air right now? Is that where you're going?
I don't think it's going to be epic, but borderline.
Borderline. So by the time you get to like your last book, there's going to be a map and like a glossary of terms in the back, and you'll be like, and I'll be so we went from this realism thing to now we're at, oh my gosh, they're speaking in tongues. Why does that tongue sound like Klingon? Shut up! It's still good.
I don't know if it'll go that far into like other, I don't know how far it's gonna go. I'm just along for the ride.
That's fair. No, it's totally fair, totally fair. But if you do get that far, I'll just for me to you, I'll just say like I'll show you how to make a cool like treasure map. You just need like paper and like a blowtorch, right?
Oh yeah.
No, seriously, like to make a treasure map, actually make a really legit treasure map, folks. You take paper, you crumple it up, obviously. You take like a blowtorch underneath, and you just paint underneath just a little bit. And suddenly you got like this brownie decay. So you got this aging map now that kind of looks like a treasure map, right? So there you go. There you go. Something to consider down the road. It's not quite as useful as juggling balls from clown school, but maybe, just maybe, you'll find a use for it before your time writing the books.
How is that useful?
Which part? The juggling of the balls?
Juggling. How is that useful?
Because, well, for starters, it's a coordination building. If you can actually juggle, that's actually a very impressive skill. That means you can actually do 2 or 3 tasks at once. Because that's hard. Like, especially when you first start juggling, it's like one ball. Okay, we can do one ball. How about 2 balls? Well, that takes some coordination. I don't have it. I'm inept. I can totally acknowledge this. I'm inept at this. But then 3 balls. You know what? Honestly, if I were to be really, really honest with you, I think juggling is oddly a good discipline / meditation exercise. Because it exercises your mind's ability to do tasks and get to the point of, you want the ultimate example of unconscious competence. It's juggling. Because juggling requires you to actually not be able to, you're no longer thinking about the balls, you're just doing it. And that's when you know you're actually really good at juggling. Any skill, art skill, any skill in art, any skill period actually is a journey to unconscious competence, right? When we start, we're unconsciously incompetent. We don't know what we're doing, and we really don't know what we're doing. Then we hit eureka. Then we hit a eureka moment. Ha! I don't know what I'm doing, but I know it, right? And then that shifts. That shifts to consciously competent. Okay, I can do this, but I got to work at it. And then the last step is unconsciously competent. That's when you know you can do it and not have to think about it anymore. You have the practice and the muscle memory. And honestly, I can't think of a better example of this than juggling. Because juggling is the ultimate journey to consciously, and to be good at juggling, you have to go from, I don't know what I'm doing, me, to, right? Actually, I'm at stage 2. I know I don't know what I'm doing, right? Right? I know it. So then you get to like 3, right? You get to 3, and that step of 3, there are people that, like, you see this when people are just about really good at juggling. They can do it, but there's a point where they still strain. It's getting to the point where it's like, oh my God, I'm getting tired, and I might lose the ball. I'm sure you've been there. You were there yourself a few times. And then finally,
well, I never said I was good at juggling.
Maybe. So you might be at consciously competent, right? Right. Then that's
Especially
fine.
not anymore.
Well, maybe you're back to step 2. You're never going to be at step 1 ever again, but okay. It's like me at a fighting game. I am consciously incompetent. I used to be unconsciously competent. Like, I used to be really good at fighting games, right? But fighting games is a combination. Like what? Street Fighter. I used to spar with. I used to spar when I was living in Windsor, Ontario. Way back in the day, I used to actually spar with the Caribbean champion. He was going to the University of Windsor, right? And so there's the laundromat where this Street Fighter Alpha game was at, and me and him would actually, when we saw each other, we would spar. It was great. I've never had my ass kicked so thoroughly in my life, but it's like and it was good because it's also rare. You know this when you're really good at something, to see someone better than you to a spot that gives you a level that you know it still can be reached. That's actually inspiring. Actually inspiring, right? So I had that. And once like I was that good. Like if it was anybody else, I kicked the crap out of them. Right? This guy was like a champ. Like he won tournaments. And I'm still going. I'm not quite move for move. I wasn't quite move for move with him, but it wasn't like he was just walking away with me either. It was just like he was like, okay. Because I beat him one round. He's like, oh my God, you're actually good at this. I actually going to have a fight here. Cool. And so it's like, then he turned it up and it's like, oh, this is so much fun. Like we just went back and forth and it was really, really, really fun. But now in my head, I know what to do. I can still go play Street Fighter. I know what the moves are. I know ideally what you should do, but I'm out of practice. There's also like a muscle memory aspect to it too. I don't have the muscle memory anymore. I can do it's now somewhere between I'm somewhere between consciously competent and consciously incompetent. I can still beat a beginner because I know what I'm really doing. I know what I'm doing. I still know all the basic little tricks. And some of my tricks still work against some people that are really good. But I run out of tricks a lot quicker than I used to. Right? So that's the difference, right? Like you get to that point, right? And but it's also going back to something you said earlier. We get to a point where what matters to us. Would I like to be good at Street Fighter again? Sure, I would love to be good at Street Fighter again. I don't have the hours to do it though. I just don't. Right? I don't have the hours anymore. I mean, would I rather create work or would I get good at Street Fighter? Or would I rather, if I am going to have some spare time, would I rather chase a pretty girl or whether I play Street Fighter? I'm probably going to chase a pretty girl. Would I rather read a book and right and for play Street? I'd rather read a book. I still play video games.
Good
but
answer.
I don't play. Yes, I still do. No, I totally still play video games, but I don't play for the same reasons anymore. Right? I don't play to be necessarily good at a game. Sometimes I play to be deliberately bad at a game. It frustrates some people. Like, have you ever gone online? You've ever played Call of Duty online?
No, I'm not much of an online player because people can be kind of douchey. And I don't,
So,
especially being a chick and trying to play online.
No,
I have a mic or anything.
No,
so I avoid online.
So here's what I do because I'm a very special asshole. I play bad on purpose.
Yeah, that is fun to do. And being a girl, it's really convincing that like I don't know what I'm doing. Oh no. And like just I don't screwing up left and right. No, I didn't do Call of Duty. I played Battlefield.
Okay. So
yeah.
So me, I'm a savage. My favorite weapons in those games were the knife. I like stabbing people. It actually oddly was one hit kills every time you did it. So it's just like I'll just do that. So yeah, but melee. I'm a melee guy at heart. I am that savage person. But the thing is, when I played online and I got called every name on the book, every name. I believe it. But I was having so much fun with it because because I would just charge right at them hard. They finally figured, you're doing this on purpose. Yeah, of course I am. I don't care. This is a video game. I have a life. And they're like,
some people take it very seriously, though.
For sure.
Like,
no.
So I like fucking with people like that as a reminder to, hey, it's just a game. Have fun with it, you know. Sorry I killed you.
I'm not sorry I killed you. I'm not going to lie to them. I'm not sorry I killed you. Right? But you get to do this again later. But
I'm a bad camper. I like to camp, and that pisses people off. They hate that. Yeah. And I'm a teabagger. I will run up and teabag everybody I kill.
You're terrible. Oh my god.
So I pissed a lot of people off, and I don't know. I live kind of in the middle of nowhere, and I'm actually surprised that my internet has held up fairly well throughout this whole thing. It's not strong enough to really support online gaming anymore either. So
No, video game fans are some of the most passionate in the world. What is your video games of choice? I should ask. I have a handful of games in my head, but I'm going to see if I'm right.
I love the Far Cry franchise.
Ooh.
Maybe not so much 5, but 3 is one of my favorites. 4 was a lot of fun to play, and 5. But sorry, the 6th one, the new one that's out. It's kind of, I don't know. I don't feel that the storyline is as solid as the other ones really were.
Fair.
And I don't know if they can top 5. I think that's the best one that they've put out, and it was so much fun to play. I also play a lot of Skyrim. I can never get tired of that game. It has aged very well. And then lately I've been playing a demolition derby racing game called Wreckfest. That's fun. If you like destruction and just smashing into things and other cars and just chaos, oh, it's so much fun.
I can see you enjoy that. See, so my RPG of choice right now are the Tales games, because see, it's a little bit, the controls are still a bit like fighting games, so I get a little bit of that fighter itch scratch when I play those games. Number one, number two, I love the skits. The skits in the game are what make it worth it. The stories are usually pretty good. The stories in the games are usually pretty good, but what makes a Tales game. So I remember one of the Tales games. I accidentally found a skit, and it's hilarious. So you get one of the characters is this like he takes himself very seriously most of the time, but every once in a while they'll do a skit with him where he just slowly is driven. He's such a straight man. He's so good to be at the butt of the joke with. So there's one part of the game, if you go the wrong direction, you go the wrong direction. So there's a skit with just him. Hey, why did we go this way? What are we doing?
So he breaks the fourth wall.
Oh no, it's not even it's not quite a fourth wall thing, but it kind of it's done just in such a way that it's both fourth and it's fourth wall, but it's not. But it's hilarious. It's like, oh my god, they actually have a skit for when you get lost. This is fantastic.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Did you ever play the Portal games?
I did.
I thought those were funny.
Yeah. It wasn't quite my thing, but it was interesting. The Tales games for me are kind of like that. If I want to play, again, what I play at this point are either games like Super Mario Kart, right? Or I'm playing games like RPGs, like Skyrim's a good one. But I am more of a JRPG guy, so I'm Persona, the Tales games. Those are the two franchises I really, really like. I want to eventually get my hands on the Final Fantasy VII remake. Eventually, so I hear that's pretty good. Yeah, I hear that's pretty good. When I move to my next place, I will finally go and get myself a PS4. I don't think I'm going to get a PS5 ever. I feel like nobody really wants a PS5 right now. I think with everything that kind of happened the last few years, it kind of derailed that system. So PS4 seems to be where to go.
That's what we have. So, and I really enjoy the PS4. There's a lot of different games that you can play. One thing that I'm fairly disappointed about is the Silent Hill franchise. Can't play them on PS4 or the new Xbox. PS3 is the highest game you can go. And I love Silent Hill. And
I still got my PS3. I still got my PS3. So
ours died.
Mine has been in a storage locker for about 2.5 years. So when I take it out, I'm gonna
hope it still works.
Probably. Right. It hasn't gone anywhere. Should be fine. Should be. It is Calgary though, so who knows what the weather did. Actually, no, Calgary's good. They was in a pretty secure spot, so should be fine. Room temperature for 3 years, not doing anything. Give it a little cleanup. It should be fine. Should be, right? And yeah, we'll see. But yeah, but no, I still saw my PS2. So I mean, so the system I still wish I had. I'm not gonna lie, is the old Super Nintendo system. That system has so many good games on it, like so many. So I'm old.
Yeah, a lot of classics.
I'm old, you can tell, folks, and I'm okay with it. Shut up, Clouds. But that's okay. No, I'm actually playing it like right now on Steam. I'm playing some of the retro games. Final Fantasy VI and Chrono Trigger are my retros right now. You can't go wrong with that. You can't go wrong with either of those. So, but those are me. Yeah. So I am a gamer, but it's I see. I'm not playing competitive stuff to beat scores for that all the other cool kids are doing. Right.
Yeah.
I'm not that cool anymore. I've had to come to terms with that, Heather. It hurt my ego, like, it's this big, and you just had to shrink it down just a little bit, But Silent Hill is your thing, okay? And Far Cry's thing, and you like demolition derby kind of style racing, right? Any other games?
Yep. GTA is always fun and a great therapy release. You can do all kinds of against the law things with no real repercussions, so it's perfect.
So what I used to do, this is with the San Andreas. I never actually played the game. I never actually played the game, because here's the thing, folks, about Grand Theft Auto. The main game is actually the least interesting thing about Grand Theft Auto, almost always. And don't get me wrong, the game can be good. That's not saying that the game's bad, but you can do so much extra shit right at the beginning of the game. Right at the beginning of the game, you don't actually ever need to play the game if you don't want to.
Well, they started locking down the islands, so you have to get further in the storyline to open up your map and be able to go places.
Actually, technically, they locked it down in San Andreas, but there are. So if you steal the train, you can go anywhere. You can actually steal the train in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. You can do it. You can actually go on board and drive the train over into the next town. Now, the moment you get out, you're at 5 stars. Right? You're not supposed to be here, and everybody and their mother's coming after you. But you can do it. It can be done. And it's like, oh my gosh. You can do everything. But what I actually used to do is, so you were talking about teabagging earlier. I was going to mention this earlier, but I'll mention it here. So this is the thing. What I used to do, the level where you get the camera, right? Get the camera. I would physically beat up people and take their picture after I beat them up. I was a strange little criminal, like when in that
Your
game.
little trophy folder.
Yeah, exactly. I beat you, I beat you, I beat you, I beat you. Oh crap, they're all after me now. What did I do? No.
My husband and I set up challenges for each other on GTA. Like, you have to get up to 3 stars and get away in a golf cart.
That's skill. That's skill. You gotta get to that garage as soon as you can.
Well, you can't go to the garage or go to your safe house. That's not an option. You have to go and cool down somewhere else. That's part of our challenge. But I figured out a real easy, cheap way to do that is get 3 stars near a train track where it goes through a long tunnel, and just run into the tunnel, and the cops don't really follow you. The helicopters can't get to you, and you just chill out. It's kind of a cheap way, but getting to the tunnel alive, being chased by a helicopter and a bunch of cops in a golf cart, that's the real challenge.
It's a race. Once you get into the crane, I'm in.
Try not to crash. Try not to die. You don't have much protection in a golf cart, so just a couple shots and you're dead. So we have fun.
Yeah, I can see that. You two like. So whose evil challenge idea was this? Was it his or yours?
Mine.
So like he
it's
comes up,
it's
he comes
almost
up.
impossible with 5 stars to do it.
Oh, yeah, because now they don't care. They'll go after you anywhere at 5 stars.
They
Like
got the
any.
tanks. They touch you, you're dead.
Oh yeah. I mean, that really was what would happen to a golf cart if a tank touched it. It literally would go to pieces. They're not built. Golf carts are luxury items. They're not built to withstand a tank. In fact, not many things are. That's why they're called. That's why they're tanks. No, but I digress. No, it's like I said. It sounds to me like video games was like your go-to place for hobbies, and you seem to enjoy it.
When I don't have anything else to do, or when I just refuse to do anything else, I go to my video games to as a means for kind of escape and release. I find it very therapeutic.
That works. No, it totally works. It totally works. So, from your writing standpoint, do you just write novels, or do you do other things creatively for a living as well?
Um, Not creatively with writing, but I am a freelance photographer and I go out and do photography jobs.
That's cool. What kind?
Well, I just did a Buddhist wedding between
Okay.
an older couple who are, I would guess they're in their 70s. I didn't ask, but that was really really sweet to witness and to be able to have the honor of being the one to capture their most important moment of their whole lives. I also do high school senior photo shoots. I do just general portrait photography for families or, costume. Um, and then next month, I have my first big wedding to photograph. And that will determine whether or not I take on other big weddings because I'm like I'm shy. I have anxiety putting myself out there in front of that many people. It's unnerving. So I'm gonna see if I can handle it.
Fair enough. Well, weddings are the ultimate challenge. I think like photographers either love them or hate them, depending on who they are, because there's a lot of work that goes into them. Like there's really a lot of work that goes into them, and choosing the right photos and stuff like that can be grueling. It's like we like these ones. No, how about these ones? Like, oh God, just pick some. Right, right. Sometimes it gets to that point. But other time, but then again, some people really dig the whole. It's a happy moment in two people's lives, right? And that's a sweet thing to be a part of. You know what I mean? So, you fall in that latter category, I assume.
Usually, I'm reluctant about receiving a bridezilla type scenario. Um, but I don't know, I'd say for the most part, I'm kind of immune to the feelings of weddings and the whole new love thing. Um, but the seeing the older couple getting married and seeing the love share between them so late in life, that really touched me. And I cried at their wedding. I don't cry at weddings. I don't care at weddings, but that one made me cry.
Aw, aw. My
Like
grandmother.
it's nice to sorry, what?
No, no, just finish your thought. I can do mine after. Finish your thought.
Just it's nice that people are in love and getting married, but I think the reason that the older couple really actually affected me was because they know that they want to be with this person because they're so late in their life that they wouldn't waste getting married to just anyone at that point. And I think younger couples tend to more frivolously get married, and it's like, oh, that's cute, but a lot of them end up failing, or so I'm not touched by the new weddings.
Quite as much.
Yeah,
Because-
it's cute, but I'm not going to cry.
I'm going so far as to say that if you've seen enough of the newlywed divorces, you have a slightly different take on how the weddings are going to go. I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I try not to be cynical about it, but yeah, we all, I mean, Lord knows I'm as guilty of this as anybody else. Sometimes we're not thinking with the best parts of our anatomy when we're choosing our partners. So, right. Right. That, yeah, if you find someone that's really good for you, that's usually a rare thing. Like if you're judging solely by that. So, but I would say that's like I think the other aspect about the older couple getting married too, and this is something I've realized too. We all have this tendency to look at the negative stuff in life and just dwell on it. But if you do that, it's like, well, why get married, or why do this, or why do that? And I think the best answer I've ever heard about something like that, especially when you look at an older couple, is that it's hope. 70 years. My grandmother, this is where I was going to go, is in her 80s, and she's dating a guy, right? I'm just a little, like a year younger, and it is the sweetest thing I've ever seen in my life. It is one of the sweetest things I've ever seen, right? Because, yeah. But one of the reasons why, and I think this is okay. I've seen it. I will never forget this for as long as I live. I was living in their house, like I walked their house, staying in their one house while they were living in their own. They were coming in to do some little work on the house, a little maintenance on it, like washing out the sides and stuff like that. So Reinhardt, I'm going to mention him on the air, gets caught with little stuff, put like dirt on his on the grass, and there he goes to her. There's like just the way they were interacting. She's like, "What's going on there, Shizer?" It's like there's dirt on my fruit, but like it's like, well, clean it off. It's just their interaction was, I will never forget that for as long as I live. It was one of the most genuinely like loving things I'd ever seen. Just two people, and it's genuine. You can see it with both of them that they love each other so very much, and it made me realize something very important. I think maybe the hardest thing about this life is hope. We all have a tendency to dwell in shadow of some of the things we see going on in the world today, and we have our own ideas about what that is. But there's some genuinely genuinely amazing things happen every day, and that's like stuff like that happens all the time too. And that means that in a world, no matter how dark it is, there is always that push for hope, that push for life, that push for living. And I think the older you get, the more awesome it seems, right? I think because again, hey, we're gonna die soon. It's like, yeah, so what? We're still here. Let's have some fucking fun, right? And that's it, right. Yeah, not. Why not? And even and something like I've tried to carry with me when I'm younger. Like, I'm gonna do some stupid shit in my 40s. I already know this. Some of it's gonna be stupid. Like just stupid. But at the same time, it's not really about the mistakes I make. Right? It's about how I live. All right. I could be wrong about life, Heather. It's hard for me to accept. Like I said, big ego, big head, right? but at the same time, I'm okay with being wrong. I would just rather live my life and do the best I can, and that's hope. Ultimately, that is the expression of hope. And if you have that expression of hope in your life, no matter what else the fuck is going on, it ain't all that bad. World's still here. It's going to be here tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The bad shit that you're hearing about right now, that isn't all going to be here tomorrow. Right? Right? You know, this is just how it goes. This is just how it is. Right? And I've learned this. And I'm like, and that I've learned from my grandmother at 80 years old and the love of her life. I think that's awesome.
I agree.
Yeah. So at this point, I should ask this. Maybe it's just me being deliberately stupid sometimes. But I mean, do you still got like a list, like a bucket list of things like you just want to do? It's like, this seems so dumb, but I kind of want to do it.
if money or time wasn't an option, or
It don't matter. Like, what do you want? Like, just think about it. Like, what do you want to do?
I just want to live quietly on my farm and grow my plants and take my pictures and write my books, and that's
That's a
what
good
I'm
life.
doing.
That's a
I'm
good life. No,
I'm
no,
very
no.
content.
So no escapades into random bits of stupidity now and then. Like no golf carts into trains, like in real life. Oh, okay, see, there you
No,
go.
well, sometime I would like to, I guess, travel and visit some of the most haunted places in the US, I guess. Stay in haunted hotels and see what that's like. And I like scary stuff.
Yeah, I know. I kind of got that. I kind of got that vibe off you a little bit. Just like 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 I feel again, if you weren't quite so anxious in crowds, like you'd be someone you would be someone I could probably see going to a mosh pit somewhere, right? If you weren't quite so crowd
Oh,
sensitive, you just
concerts are different.
oh concerts are different.
Concerts are different. I'll go to concerts. I don't know. In the recent years, I haven't been able to handle them as much. Like really big shows. The last one that I went to was in Tempe, Arizona, and it was the Monster Mash show with Coheed and Cambria played, and then Primus, and then Tool, and
Okay.
there were 20,000 people in this little park, and I'm really tiny, so I was pretty much around all the core body heat of everybody in Tempe, Arizona, which is hot as
hmm
shit no matter what time of year it is. It sucks.
I lived in
And
Phoenix. I know.
oh, I'm from Phoenix.
Yeah, no.
And
I lived there for about a year. I used to Tempe's actually one of my favorite parts of the city. Like to be perfectly blunt, it's still one of my favorite parts of the city. It's just such a cool part of it.
it can be yeah, Tempe Mill Avenue used to be a really cool place to hang out. It's changed a lot over the years. The Tempe Marketplace, which is an outdoor like strip mall, for a while they were having all kinds of free concerts, and I saw Hurt there. And yeah, Tempe was a pretty cool place to be. I haven't been there in a long time, so I don't know what it's like anymore, but
Oh, it's been about 15 years for me. It's been
oh,
oh yeah, it's been about 15 years for me. So I used to if I were to live in the States again, it probably would be either Phoenix or it would be San Diego. Like it would I enjoy both.
why would you live in Phoenix? Why would you choose to live in Phoenix?
because
It's so hot.
I don't mind the heat. Okay, so I'll tell you where I am right now. I'm in Alberta. We get to minus 40, not plus, minus.
Jeez, no thanks.
Yeah, see that reaction you have? Okay. So if I have to choose between the desert and I have to choose between the tundra, I can handle both extremes. I can actually handle both extremes. Right? I used to actually walk in the heat on a regular basis. Like I think this is a conversation for for another day completely, but I think the big problem with Phoenix is actually the roads. It shouldn't be this black gravel they're using because that's the shit that fries eggs, right? I've
And
never go.
it's also all of the air conditioner units that they have there. They pump out heat,
I
and
know.
all the buildings there reflect the heat, and
Yep.
all the bodies produce heat, and the cars produce heat, and the sun
Yeah, I know.
produces heat, and the heat doesn't go anywhere. It's
Yep.
2 o'clock in the morning, and it's 108 degrees outside. That's not right.
No, it's not. No, and that's the city of Phoenix for you in a nutshell, because it's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? Right? Like, what are you doing? Like you could build it in such a way that you could disperse at least some of this heat. You could, right? And you don't. And I don't understand. Never have. But in spite of that, in spite of that, there's a lot of cool people down there. I'm a big comic book guy. There's a big comic book community down there. There's a big art community down there. I learned how to sell books down in Phoenix, right? They used to, did you ever do the first Fridays in Phoenix?
No.
See, I did those. So the first Friday of the month, downtown Phoenix and some of the other like neighborhoods, all these artists would come together and just sell their stuff. And that's where I learned how to sell. That's where I learned to have a big mouth. Right? This is where I learned to have a big mouth, because when you have a rock concert beside you in rose-colored stained glass windows and you have just a little book to sell and you're wondering, what the fuck are you doing here with this in front of these two people, right? You're just like, what the fuck, right? So that's what you end up doing is you learn really quickly how to talk, because otherwise no one's going to know you're there, because why would they? Right? And that's what you learned. I learned a lot there. So maybe it's a bit of a nostalgia thing for me. It's a bit of a nostalgia thing for me with Phoenix, right? Maybe the heat would suck now. It's possible. I mean, I've been in the frozen tundra for the last 15 years. I've been in the tundra for about 12 of them. So so I went to Ontario and I went to Vancouver for like a respite. I got to tell you, Vancouver in the winter after 10 years in Calgary was awesome. Winter, like 3 degrees Celsius. It was raining, so it was wet, which kind of sucked, but it still was better than what I was used to. But to put this bluntly, right? So that's why Phoenix. I grew up. I learned a lot there. In San Diego, because it's fucking San Diego. Well, why wouldn't I? I hate LA, but I like San Diego. So I think that's
Phoenix is getting close to being similar to like LA, at least in population. It's
in population,
ridiculous.
but you can at least get through the city in Phoenix, whereas in LA you can't even do that. You can't drive in LA. You can't go anywhere in LA because depending on what neighborhood you're in, you like good or bad. LA is like this weird bubble town, right? It's a weird little bubble town. It just everybody's kind of in a bubble. Whereas Phoenix, yeah, I can still talk. I can still say hi to somebody. Say God bless you in Phoenix, because I used to go occasionally to the conventions. Then I could curse somebody in Spanish, and I can learn a new curse word if I wanted to right then and there, depending on how would I say, or I can like they're just good people down there, right? So there are some really good people down there. So I like that. My LA experience was terrible. So I was like, I like been there once. I'm sure it would be different next time. I just have no desire to go. You know, I mean, just had no desire to go to LA. So San Diego, I like San Diego. Actually, I like the rest of California. Everything but LA, I like. So strange thing. So, but you're a farmer. So, are you still in Arizona?
No, I'm in New Mexico.
Okay.
I moved next door.
Yeah,
I am still in the United States.
Yes.
Some people think that New Mexico isn't in the United States for some reason, but if you're one of those people, I'm in the United States. Like, I had people from Arizona asking me what I was doing in Mexico, and I'm like, no, New Mexico, the state next to Arizona. Come on. So,
okay,
you know, it's weird.
Okay, I have an idea where you're at. So yeah, no, New Mexico's nice. It's a more moderate version of Arizona, is the way I'll put it. It's a slightly more moderate version of Arizona.
Yeah.
The other reason I liked Arizona is the southern part of it. Northern Arizona is a little different, but I don't mind that end of it so much. But it does come with its quirks, we'll just say.
Yeah. Sedona, especially. Sedona has some quirks.
Actually, that whole area has some quirks. So I had the opportunity to work for one of my heroes. I'm not going to mention who it is because we didn't end on a good term. But I learned looking the map of where he is. It's an air town called Snowflake, Arizona. You might know of that town.
Yeah.
So what I didn't know, because again, I'm a Canadian transplanting to Arizona. So what's this place like? Oh, it's a Mormon community. Finding that out on the van ride up was a bit of like, what have I signed up for? Right? There are some really cool people up there. There really are some cool people up there. The town wasn't for me long term, but there are some legitimately really cool people up there, and but again, it has its quirks, right? So it's you have to be able to know what they are. I enjoyed my time in Arizona. So I'd go back. I like I said, Phoenix, maybe Tucson, maybe if there's like that, maybe Sedona, maybe because it's a little bit more moderate in terms of weather. Like once you get to the northern part of Arizona, the weather is a lot more like varied. but that's the one thing about it. But yeah, it is definitely its own place. But yeah, it sounds. What do you grow with your farm? Like what's your crop of choice? What's your plants of choice?
Mostly we grow hay, and sell it to local ranchers and people who keep other livestock. And then we also grow green chili.
Ooh, that's good stuff. That's really good
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
Now,
I
now I
love
kind
green chili.
now I kind of wish I was a neighbor. It's like, hey, I can have some green chili. That's good stuff, man. That's really good stuff.
Yeah,
Nah,
yeah.
that's a cool life. Honestly, that's a very cool life. You're in a nice place. It's quiet. You only deal with
Mostly,
obnoxious. Yeah, you deal with obnoxious assholes like me only when you have to, when you want to, and that's it, right? And
mostly, not quite. There's an unruly neighbor who causes quite a bit of strife, just down the way. So, but that's the only one.
duct tape, duct tape. That's the way out of that. You use duct tape, right? I promise you, after one time, they won't bother you ever again. It's like, here you go.
Oh no, this person needs a straitjacket.
That does exist out there too. It's one of the
They're
quirks of being out there.
yay.
Well, you get again. You go out in the middle. You go out into the environment when you're not in a city. When people are living in these isolated things, we all have quirks, and those quirks can be accelerated or brought out a lot more because of just the environment you're in. So it's one of those situations where you just have to realize, hey, this can really be a crazy place. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But I mean, if that's the worst part about it, honestly, it's not so bad.
It's pretty good here.
Yeah. So listen, if you get to the point of being an epic fantasy author, when you get to that point, I'll teach you how to make a treasure map. Come back on the show and teach you how to make a treasure map. Don't blame me, okay? Just don't blame me, because honestly, you look like you could kick my butt, and I don't want you. I don't want. Hey, I know this for a fact. Anyone who works on the farm is strong as shit. I know that for I know this for a fact. Don't want to get put in like I don't want to get put in like a choke sleeper, like and just go out like a light, just that well here, because you could do it, and your husband would just like sit there and laugh as I go to sleep. I just know. Right. You can just see it now. So I don't want to get on your bad side. So but it sounds to me like you have it pretty good, and you're not in a bad place. And I guess the last question, because I kind of feel we've had a wonderful chat, but I also kind of feel that you're like, I'm okay for a little quiet for right now. I think you kind of hit that wonderful little point internally, and it's totally fine. But before we wrap up, I guess I should ask this: books. Let's say your books really take off, because it's possible. And I mean, you're a great writer, and you should and again, depending on how you market and build yourself up, Next thing you know, I'm going to be talking to you in a couple of years. Like, Heather, can you please come back to my show? And you'll say, I'm too big for your show. And just big leap me. Just go off into the other. What I actually liked about that is you're actually blushing just a little bit when I say that. But yeah, just I got big league by Heather Ashbury, ladies and gentlemen. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. What I'm saying though to you is, if you do happen to make it really big, like you have the like, do you love the farm more? Do you love writing more, or is it like kind of both the same?
Kind of both the same. I mean, if I was given opportunity to move somewhere more lucrative, I wouldn't. You would have to drag me kicking and screaming from this place, pretty much. But I don't really see myself leaving.
Sure.
I love my peace and quiet. I love my river is 5 minutes away from me. We have pretty mild weather here. I live in a major migratory birding area, and we get hundreds of different species of birds. And so I get photographs of all kinds of different birds, and it's perfect for my hobbies, and it's perfect for my mental health. And I'm happy here.
And that we can all be a little bit envious of, just a touch. I'm happy for you though, and congrats on everything. And I do hope seriously that your books get out into the world a little bit more, and people realize just what an awesome person you really are. But you may have to speak in front of people when this happens. You know this, right?
I want to find somebody who can be my public speaker for me, so I don't have to.
All right, a little. So okay. I want to know. So I'm going to ask. You don't want to go too deep into this. Why do you get so nervous around people? You're sweet. You're well informed. You're fun. Like, there's definitely a fun side to you, and I can just see it. There is a mischievous nature, a little bit of a mischief person inside, right? And I see the wheels turning. Like, you're a fun person, and I think a lot of people would, if you share that, would warm up to you really well. So what's the nature of your anxiety, if you don't mind my asking?
I don't even actually know. When I was a child, I was very outgoing. I would run up to pretty much anybody and make friends with them. I'm very social online. But when it comes face to face, I freeze up. I start shaking. My brain doesn't want to work and make the words. And then I start to stutter over my words or say things that aren't clearly what I wanted. And then I get frustrated about it. And then it's just kind of a snowball effect.
Okay. See, I would like to meet you and your husband. I'm totally doing it for the green chilies. I'm not going to lie. I'm totally doing it for the green chilies. But I don't want, like, I hope if we do meet in person, I will just say this, much like this conversation here, don't worry about it. Just be yourself. I don't care how awkward you get. You're still awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah. I hope that that's a small thing. But that's that, because again, I like my little secret desire of every guest I've interviewed on the show, I'd love to meet them in person, all of them, because I think I've had this opportunity to have this wonderful experience with them. So I'd love to actually, and I've met quite a few of them in person, not all, but I've met quite a few, right? And yeah, it's one of the best. It's one of the coolest feelings when you're actually talking to a legitimate friend. I mean, it's one of the best perks, for lack of a better word, of doing a show like this. You meet just incredible people all the time. I think I've met a pretty incredible person today. What do you think? And she's never blushed again. This is awesome.
I'm just me.
But that is incredible enough. It honestly is. I think though, Miss Heather, before I make you blush, really, really, really blush, I'm gonna say I think I think we have an interview here. What do you think?
Yeah.
Did you have fun?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a little nerve-wracking leading up to it, but I've done a little bit of streaming presence with some friends of mine who do video game streams. Sometimes I'll guest appear on their streams. So I've been in front of a video online before, but I haven't actually conversed or been asked questions or shared anything that wasn't video game related. So this was definitely a first, and it wasn't as bad as I thought I was gonna be, as I thought I was going to be.
You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be
So
fine. You're gonna. See, this might be my little hubris. This might be a little hubris on my end. I think I can get a good conversation out of anybody. I think I could totally do it, and like I said, I'm pretty good at making fun of myself. So I mean, and I got a big mouth, so I just figured, we'll have fun. Don't matter what we talk about, we'll figure it out and we'll have a good time. And that's what I was going for. So we probably should promote a book of some kind before we wrap this up, shouldn't we? We probably should say something. So you should probably tell people. Woohoo! Wait. Well, the light, it's blinding. There we go. That's a cool cover.
Yay.
That is. So tell us a little bit about More Than Human.
This is actually the original cover. It has since been updated because I had too many people telling me that this was a horse and not a wolf. So I don't know. Can you? Does that look like a horse?
I know that's a wolf. I mean, I've never seen a wolf like do the one step. I've seen the horse do the one step thing. I think that's what throws people off. But that's a wolf.
Yeah.
A wolf, horses. I know this. I dated a barrel racer out in my time out there. Horses generally don't sit like that. They just don't.
No, they don't. They don't sit very eloquently. They sit very clumsily. So
they don't like
I don't
sitting.
know, but
they don't like sitting. Yeah.
It became kind of a problem, so I went back to my artist, who's a good friend of mine, and asked her to kind of revisit the wolf and make it more obviously wolfy, unquestionably and undeniably wolfy. Which she has updated the cover, and if you buy my book, that's what you're gonna get now. I don't have an updated book on me, so I can't show you what it looks like.
But you can. Where can people find it?
It's on Amazon, and it's on Kindle Unlimited, and just on the 8th, I had my audiobook published. So it's also on Audible. And if there are any Amazon users who are in the UK territories, I actually have free codes to listen to my book if you leave a review. So I don't know if any of your followers are in the UK.
Actually, there are a few. There are some. Hold on. Let's do this. Let's just a little pop or pizzazz. Ladies and gentlemen, Heather Ashbury has released her book More Than Human, and it is available now everywhere you can possibly find it. But if you are in the UK and you have an Amazon account, if you decide to buy the book and leave a nice review, Heather will gift you with a little cheat code, right? Much like the economy code is up, up, down, down, left, right. You know, that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, see, there you go. So you know the code. You are a gamer. So if you can't send her a review, she will contact you and will give you the option if you want the audiobook, and she'll send you a code to get it. Right? So, but that does mean it is only for the UK. So UK residents only. So my listeners in the UK, if you want a free book, or free, I should say, audiobook, go buy her book now, More Than Human. How was that? Was that good?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Was that a good ad? Was that a good voiceover for it? Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Cool.
But this book, I guess it's just I wrote a book that I felt was missing and that I wanted to read, because I have a soft spot in my heart for werewolves. I love werewolves. I love the way that I've created my werewolves. I wish that that was real. But a lot of werewolf books that I've read, I have problems with because they touch a lot on domestic abuse or sexual assault or, hyperfixation on the idea of a virgin and kind of coveting that. And I, it didn't really do it for me. So I produced a book that doesn't have any sexual assault. Everything is between consenting adults. There's no misogyny involved. There's no really like ownership of, you belong to me. I hate that crap. Some people like it. I don't. So yeah, my book is what I want to read. And a lot of people have actually enjoyed it, and I'm surprised with how many people have enjoyed it. And it keeps me going to write the next one because I have people harassing me to finish.
Where's the next
So,
book? Yes.
yeah. Hey, are you done yet? You try to write a book, okay? It takes a minute, all right? And I have a life. I have other things going on. I can't write all day long every day. I have children. I have a farm. I have animals. I have my photography business. I have my herbalism business. So it's going to take me a minute, but I'm hoping to finish and have it edited and ready by the end of the year.
That's cool. So you want to talk herbalism and stuff around the end of the year when your book's out again? Your next book's out?
Sure.
That sounds like fun. Okay, cool. We'll do that. Finally, do you have a webpage where people can find you?
I have a website in development right now. I'm on a social media site that is called Space Hay, which if you ever used MySpace, it's exactly like MySpace used to be, which was very nostalgic for me because I'm an old MySpace user. Can't remember my name or login information anymore though. So I joined Space Hay. I'm on there. I'm on Instagram as Heather Ashbury _author. I'm on Twitter, but I don't do anything with it. And I'm on Facebook.
Twitter, ladies and gentlemen. I asked her right before the show started. You want to share? That's where you can find her on Instagram. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Wow. Trained motherfucking professional right here.
So
that's where people can find you. That's cool.
Yep. My books are on Amazon and Audible now, so that's about it.
Congratulations. That's huge congratulations to you. You deserve and good luck with your books and everything in general. All right, time for me to be a trained professional. This is my latest book release, ladies and gentlemen. This is Alice 1. This is my mashup of Alice in Wonderland and Greek mythology. Alice is Pandora. Alice chases the Queen of Hearts over the edge of the world and ends up in the Greek underworld, where to escape, she must play croquet against Jason of the Argonauts. In this underworld maze in this game, Alice and company will encounter gods, monsters, and perhaps the most terrifying thing of all, themselves. It is available now on Amazon and Kindle. Well, on Kindles right now. I'm going to be doing physical books, hopefully, in the fall this year, along with my next couple releases. Finally, for those authors wanting to advertise their books in a variety of platforms, I am offering services to do so. And I'm just typing this in my ender because, like I said, I am a trained professional, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. So if you, as an author, want to create micro ads, press releases, words, images, graphics for a variety of websites and tools and content. If you're looking for a video to promote your book, if you're looking for anything along those lines, you can visit my webpage now. I have a litany of services available. I'm updating the page literally as after I go off the air, so it'll be a little updated. But basically, if you're an author, you have a hard time speaking with people and want to get the word out, I am your guy. Give me a shout. All right, folks. That will do it for this episode of Just Joshing. I want to thank Heather for being a wonderful guest and not killing me when I asked her the age question. But besides that, everybody, thank you very much. Tomorrow is going to be a fun one, folks. It's going to be a metal band is showing up. Circa Arcana are my guests. I do metal bands on the show too every once in a while.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna chime into that.
Yes, that's coming in tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Mountain time. It's going to be a fun one, folks. It's definitely going to be cool. For everybody watching, everybody listening, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. And I'll see ya tomorrow.